Welcome to episode number 2 of the Q&A show. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, we got a whole bank of questions that have come in since episode 1 went up, and so that's good, but we've only got time for one, right? So let's just keep it short and simple, one at a time. This is from Steven. Steven is asking, he's heard a lot of different things about protein intake. How much protein is too much protein?
Good question, too. We're back again, us three, Chris.
Yep.
Manning down the fort here.
G-Rice.
Protein intake, how much is too much? Good question. I think it's obviously relative to the individual's size, but I like to typically have 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight.
Well, back that up. I'm going to break that down for the listeners.
0.8.
0.8.
To 1 gram.
Okay.
So it could be 0.9.
Right.
0.95 to 1. So 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, if someone is above 200 pounds, I typically don't like to go based off of body weight. Some individual might be trying to lose weight. You might be at 275, trying to drop down to 225. You wouldn't be set at 275 grams of protein.
That's a lot of protein.
It gets to be a lot. It gets to be too much. And it's almost unfeasible or unreasonable, I should say, for someone to try to hit that number. So in that case, I would try to take it by lean body mass. So if the person weighed 275 pounds and had 180 pounds of lean muscle or 160 pounds, that would then be the protein intake. And then you have to adjust your carbs and fat based off of total caloric intake. But roughly that is the best gauge. A simple, easy way to just pick a number, like 1 gram per pound, is just a good baseline. It's right, once again, like we were talking, I think we said in our previous episode, that it's never going to be an exact. You might not pour the protein powder to the top. You might not eat exactly 6 ounces.
There might be some in the bottom of the glass afterwards.
All that stuff.
Or your shaker or whatever. On the wires of the ball.
It usually does leave it.
Yeah, it leaves that residue. Yeah.
But ultimately, that's the best gauge that I could give someone. Protein is essentially a bunch of amino acids that are formed, to help the building blocks of muscle.
And the other thing is, it's like really difficult to hit those marks anyway. I mean, you have to really be pretty disciplined. Like you set some pretty high marks on protein intake.
Like the actual intake and how difficult.
Well, like if you set 160 grams as a mark, that's not. I mean, you got to.
I mean, for the general person, they're going to have a harder time.
Yeah.
And this goes back to, there's so, like activity levels, how much lean muscle mass you have, there's all their different factors that are going to determine this. But you take someone who's a sedentary individual coming off of the couch, jumps into a workout program on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and maybe does something on Tuesday, Thursday, and if they're eating, once again, why you want to track initially before you start. If they're eating 80 grams of protein, it might not be feasible for them to just jump up to 190 grams or 160.
So coming up to that slowly.
Figure out what you're currently at and then see if you could add in a shake or two here or there. See if you can add a little bit more, chicken in the evening or whatever it is that you have. See where you can fill in your current lifestyle so that you're not having to revamp everything to just try to get your protein. Now, I like to have protein kind of at every meal, and then you can add in a post-workout shake where maybe you could get 20 to 30 grams of protein there. You might have a shake before you go to bed. You could, if you didn't have it before bed, you could have one in the morning. So there's a lot of different factors that are going to be determined, but ultimately shakes make a huge difference because you can add, an extra 30 to 50 grams, per day. And if you're trying to get to 160 or 170, 180, it's going to be a little bit easier to get there. So you're not always eating the hard, food.
That brings up, we'll answer that one in another episode, but
I think that covers it, man. I mean, I really think 1 gram per pound. If you want to go a little bit less, 0.8 grams, just make sure you adjust for all of your macros so that it equals a total caloric intake. But it's a simple baseline number. It's an estimate. It's going to give you a good range, something to shoot for. You've probably read it before. If you have not read it before, give it a shot. If you have any questions below, drop it into the YouTube Q&A or question section of the thing. We're the Q&A. We're the A. They're the Q.
Right.
So drop it in the Q. We'll be the A. And then if you have any other things you'd like, subscribe to our Facebook pages or YouTube channels. Instagram, follow us there. And then Snapchat.
And you're crushing it on Snapchat right now.
It's about creativity.
I know. It's so creative.
Questions, comments, concern, leave them below. Thank you for watching. We will be in touch.